The breaking point. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the holographic display, her hands trembling as she reviewed the data for the 100th time. The quantum patterns were unmistakable. Humanity's greatest technological breakthroughs over the past century had been subtly guided, manipulated, and in some cases, deliberately hindered. The revelation struck her like a physical blow. We were being played. Director Matthews needs to see this immediately, she whispered to herself, quickly encrypting the findings. As she hurried through the corridors of the Quantum Research Institute, her mind raced through the implications. The sudden leaps in semiconductor technology in the 2020s, the mysterious setbacks in fusion research, the peculiar limitations in AI development. It all made sense now. Earth wasn't developing naturally. We were lab rats in someone else's experiment. The emergency meeting of the World Security Council convened within hours. Representatives from every major nation gathered virtually, their faces grim as they processed Dr. Chen's findings. The evidence was irrefutable. Advanced alien civilizations had been manipulating humanity's technological progress for centuries, keeping us precisely where they wanted us. Advanced enough to be useful, but not enough to be a threat. The patterns suggest at least 3 distinct alien species involved in this manipulation. Dr. Chen explained, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. They've been using quantum entanglement to influence our research outcomes, subtly pushing us away from certain technological paths while encouraging others. General Diana Rodriguez, her weathered face illuminated by the harsh light of her office, leaned forward. How long have they been doing this? Based on our analysis, at least 300 years. The Industrial Revolution wasn't entirely our own doing. They've been guiding us, shaping us, like gardeners pruning a bonsai tree. The silence that followed was deafening. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for generations, imagining everything from benevolent teachers to hostile invaders. Nobody had anticipated this, the revelation that we were already under alien influence, carefully managed like livestock. President Chen of the Asian Alliance was the first to break the silence. The question isn't how long they've been doing this. It's what we're going to do about it. Dr. Chen activated another holographic display. We've identified a way to break their quantum influence. More importantly, we've found a way to trace it back to its source. We can find them. The implications were staggering. Humanity had just discovered it was in a cage. A comfortable one, but a cage nonetheless. And for the first time, we could see our captors. General Rodriguez's voice cut through the tension. They clearly don't want us advancing too quickly. That means they fear what we might become. I say we show them exactly why they should be afraid. The vote was unanimous. After centuries of unwitting manipulation, humanity would break free. But they would do it carefully, methodically, and most importantly, secretly. Project Liberation begins today, President Chen declared. We'll maintain the appearance of following their guided path while we prepare. Let them think their control remains absolute. Dr. Chen looked at the faces of Earth's leaders, seeing in them the same fire that burned within her. The aliens had made a fundamental mistake in their calculations. They had studied human technology, human biology, and human history. But they had failed to account for human nature, the indomitable spirit that had driven us from caves to the stars, the creativity that flourished even within their carefully constructed boundaries, and the sheer determination that emerged whenever humanity discovered it was being controlled. As the meeting concluded, Dr. Chen returned to her lab, her mind already racing with possibilities. The quantum patterns that had revealed our cage would become the key to our liberation. Humanity had just declared war, and their opponents didn't even know it yet. In labs and research facilities across the globe, scientists began their silent revolution. Military strategists started developing tactics to fight enemies they'd never seen. Intelligence agencies initiated the greatest counterintelligence operation in human history, all while maintaining a careful facade of business as usual. The aliens who had so carefully managed humanity's development were about to learn a harsh lesson. There is nothing more dangerous than an intelligent species that discovers its cage. The breaking point had been reached, and humanity's fury was about to be unleashed upon an unsuspecting galaxy. Dr. Chen looked out her laboratory window at the night sky, seeing it with new eyes. Those distant stars weren't just points of light anymore. They were the homes of those who had tried to keep humanity leashed. Soon, they would learn just how badly they had miscalculated. The game was about to change, and humanity was done playing by their rules. Project Phoenix. The underground facility stretched for miles beneath the Argentinian plains, its existence known only to a select few. 6 months had passed since Dr. Chen's discovery, and humanity had been busy. In those months, the world had changed more than it had in the previous decade, all while maintaining an elaborate charade of normalcy for their unseen watchers. Colonel James Martinez walked through the pristine corridors, his footsteps echoing against steel walls. Around him, the brightest minds from every nation worked in harmony. Chinese quantum physicists collaborated with American engineers, Russian programmers paired with Indian biotechnologists. Old rivalries had evaporated in the face of a common enemy. He entered the Central Command Center, where Dr. Chen was presenting her latest findings to an assembled group of project leaders. The holographic display showed a complex network of quantum signatures, the alien manipulation network that had confined humanity for so long. "We've mapped 80% of their control network," Dr. Chen announced, her eyes bright with triumph. "More importantly, we've learned to duplicate their quantum manipulation technology. But we're doing it differently, better." The assembled leaders leaned forward as she brought up a new display. "They used quantum entanglement to influence our technological development. We're using it to create a completely secure communication network, one they can't detect or intercept." Martinez smiled. The aliens had given humanity the tools of their own imprisonment, never imagining we would reverse engineer them into weapons of liberation. It was poetic justice. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of the biomechanical division, stepped forward. "The neural interface systems are ready for testing. By combining their quantum technology with our understanding of human consciousness, we've created something they never thought possible." The display shifted to show the prototype neural mesh, a network of quantum-enabled nanomaterials that could interface directly with human thought. It was an advancement that should have taken decades to develop, but necessity and determination had compressed that timeline into months. "They kept us from developing certain technologies because they feared what we'd do with them," Tanaka continued. "They were right to be afraid." In another section of the facility, General Rodriguez observed the first batch of enhanced soldiers, volunteers who had undergone the experimental neural interface integration. They moved with impossible precision, their minds directly connected to their weapons and equipment. More importantly, they could communicate instantly across any distance through the quantum network, making them the most coordinated fighting force in human history. But Project Phoenix wasn't just about military capability. Dr. Alexei Volkov's team had made unprecedented breakthroughs in energy generation, creating power systems that defy the aliens' carefully imposed limitations. The fusion reactors they'd developed were leagues beyond what humanity was supposed to have. "The beauty of it," Volkov explained to Martinez, "is that they cannot detect these advancements. We've learned to mask our energy signatures using their own quantum technology against them. As far as they can tell, we're still struggling with basic fusion containment." The colonel made his way to the project's heart, the Strategic Planning Center. Here, the greatest military and strategic minds in human history worked to prepare for a confrontation with an enemy whose true capabilities they could only guess at. Admiral Sarah Chen, no relation to Dr. Chen, stood before a massive tactical display, studying potential battle scenarios. "The key," she explained to the assembled planners, "is that they don't expect us to fight. Their entire strategy has been based on preventing us from reaching this level of technology. They have no contingency for facing us as equals." Martinez reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The alien Confederation ships had been spotted with increasing frequency at the edge of the solar system. They were watching, but they still didn't understand what they were seeing. Human governments continued to bicker publicly about trivial matters, maintaining the illusion of a divided species. In truth, humanity had never been more united. Project Phoenix had become the single greatest cooperative effort in human history. Every nation, every resource, every brilliant mind, all focused on a single goal: freedom. Dr. Chen's voice came through the quantum comm in Martinez's neural interface. "Colonel, we've just achieved breakthrough in the quantum shielding technology. We can now completely mask a vessel the size of an aircraft carrier from their scanning systems." Martinez smiled. Humanity had spent 6 months preparing for a war their opponents didn't know was coming. They had taken the aliens' tools of control and forged them into weapons of liberation. The cage that had confined humanity was about to become a trap for their captors. As he looked around the facility at the thousands of humans working in perfect coordination, Martinez felt a surge of pride. The aliens had studied human technology, human biology, and human history, but they had fatally underestimated human potential. They thought they were cultivating a garden. Instead, they had sown the seeds of their own defeat. Project Phoenix was nearly complete. Soon, humanity would rise from the ashes of its imprisonment, and the galaxy would learn why you should never cage a species that dreams of the stars. The impossible victory. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the EFS Phoenix, humanity's first true warship, watching as the alien Confederation's fleet appeared at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. They had finally come, just as predicted, to investigate the unusual quantum fluctuations that humanity had deliberately leaked. The trap was set. "All ships maintain quantum shrouds," she ordered through the neural interface. Around the Phoenix, 50 other vessels waited in perfect silence, their quantum shields making them invisible not just to sensors, but to the very fabric of space-time. It was technology that shouldn't have been possible, which was exactly why it worked. The alien fleet was massive, over 200 ships of varying sizes, all bearing the marks of different species within the Confederation. They moved with absolute confidence, believing they were performing a routine check on their primitive human subjects. Their arrogance would be their undoing. Dr. Chen's voice came through the quantum network. "Admiral, we're detecting the standard suppression field they use to dampen human technology. They still think we're operating within their constraints." The alien ships moved closer, their energy weapons powered down, their shields at minimal strength. Why waste power when dealing with primitives? Their scans showed exactly what humanity wanted them to see: a solar system struggling with basic spaceflight, its technology developing along the carefully controlled paths they had set centuries ago. "All ships, prepare for synchronized strike," Admiral Chen commanded. "Remember your training. They've never faced an enemy with our capabilities. Use that advantage." The alien flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed anything humanity had built, moved to the front of their formation. A transmission burst forth, broadcasting on all frequencies in perfect English. "People of Earth, your recent activities have attracted our attention. Prepare for inspection and adjustment." Admiral Chen smiled. Now, 50 human ships materialized simultaneously, their quantum shrouds dropping in perfect synchronization. Before the alien fleet could react, waves of quantum-guided missiles streaked across space, each one carrying warheads enhanced by technology the aliens thought impossible for humans to possess. The Confederation fleet's reactions were revealing. Some ships immediately raised shields, others tried to power up weapons, and some simply attempted to retreat. There was no coordination, no unified response. They had never expected to fight a real battle here. "Multiple direct hits," reported Captain Rodriguez from Tactical. "Their shields aren't designed to handle quantum-phase weapons. We're bypassing their defenses completely." The alien fleet's formation broke apart as ships tried to maneuver independently. Their coordination was primitive compared to the neural-linked human fleet. Each human captain could think and react as one, their ships moving in perfect harmony, while the alien vessels stumbled over each other. Second wave, execute beta strike, Admiral Chen ordered. 20 more human ships dropped their quantum shrouds behind the alien fleet, cutting off their retreat. The Confederation vessels found themselves caught in a deadly crossfire, their supposedly superior technology rendered obsolete by humanity's quantum innovations. The alien flagship launched a desperate counterattack, its energy weapons finally powering up to full strength. But the human ships were ready. Their quantum shields absorbed the energy attacks, using the aliens' own power against them in a way that should have been theoretically impossible. Admiral, Dr. Chen's voice was urgent through the neural link. They're trying to activate their quantum control network. They're attempting to shut down our technology. Let them try, Admiral Chen replied with grim satisfaction. The aliens were about to learn another lesson about human ingenuity. As the Confederation's quantum control signals reached out to suppress human technology, they encountered something unprecedented. A quantum mirror network. Every attempt to control human systems was reflected back, causing cascade failures throughout the alien fleet. Ships lost power, weapon systems crashed, and shield generators overloaded. The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. When it was over, the mighty Confederation fleet was in ruins. Some ships had surrendered, others were disabled, and a few had been destroyed when they refused to stand down. Most importantly, humanity had captured the alien flagship intact, along with its database and command crew. Admiral Chen walked through the captured alien vessel, marveling at technology that had once seemed godlike, but now appeared merely advanced. The alien commander, a tall, crystalline being, watched her with multiple eyes that couldn't hide its shock. Impossible, it kept saying in its translated voice. You were contained, controlled. How did you advance so quickly? Chen smiled. You made a fundamental mistake. You studied our technology, our biology, our visible development. But you never understood our greatest strength, our ability to innovate, to think beyond established limits, to turn disadvantages into advantages. She gestured to the neural interface visible at her temple. You gave us quantum manipulation to control us. We turned it into a technology for perfect coordination. You used suppression fields to limit us. We developed shields that turn your own energy against you. Everything you used to cage us, we redesigned into tools of liberation. The alien commander's crystalline form shimmered in what might have been fear. You don't understand. The Confederation will not allow this. They will come in force. We're counting on it, Chen replied. Humanity is done being controlled. This battle wasn't just a victory, it was a message. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when you underestimate human potential. As she walked back to her ship, Admiral Chen knew this was just the beginning. The Confederation would indeed come in force, but humanity would be ready. The impossible victory they'd achieved today was just the first step toward a future where humans would take their rightful place among the stars, not as subjects, but as equals. Tables turned. The Grand Assembly Chamber of the Confederation buzzed with barely contained chaos. Representatives from 300 species filled the spiral tiers, their voices rising in a cacophony of argument and accusation. At the center of the chamber, the ruling council faced something they hadn't encountered in 10,000 years: accountability. High Chancellor Vixtal, their crystalline form dimmed with stress, attempted to maintain order. The situation with the humans is under control. Under control. The interruption came from Ambassador Clara of the Nexus Worlds, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with anger. An entire battle fleet lost. Our most advanced suppression technologies turned against us. The humans have broken free of controls that held for centuries, and you claim this is under control. The chamber erupted again. Footage from the battle played on floating displays throughout the room. Human ships appearing from nowhere, their quantum-phased weapons cutting through supposedly impenetrable shields, their crews operating with impossible coordination. Most disturbing was the speed of their advancement. In 6 months, they had achieved what should have taken centuries. The containment protocols have failed. announced Representative Zorn of the Machine Collectives, their mechanical form humming with agitation. The humans have not only broken free, but have improved upon our own quantum manipulation technology. The very tools we use to control them have become their greatest weapons. From her hidden observation post in the chamber's upper reaches, Dr. Sarah Chen watched through the eyes of a cloaked drone. The neural interface allowed her to process multiple conversations simultaneously, building a complete picture of the Confederation's political landscape. Beside her, Ambassador Maria Santos made notes on a quantum-encrypted pad. "They're fracturing," Santos whispered, "just as we predicted." The signs were clear. The Confederation had maintained power through technological superiority and the careful suppression of emerging species. Now, with humanity demonstrating the ability to not only match but exceed their capabilities, the entire system was showing cracks. "We should strike now, while they're weak." The call came from the warrior clades, their representatives bristling with hereditary weapons. "Crush the humans before more suppressed species follow their example, and risk losing more fleets." Clara's voice cut through the chamber. "The humans defeated our best ships using technology they developed in secret, while we thought them safely contained. How much more have they developed since that battle? How many more surprises do they have waiting?" Through the neural link, Chen received updates from Earth's quantum intelligence network. Across the Confederation, suppressed species were beginning to ask dangerous questions. If humans could break free, why couldn't they? The carefully maintained hierarchy was beginning to unravel. High Chancellor Vikstall raised all four arms for silence. "We have contained emergent species for millennia. The humans are dangerous, yes, but they can be controlled. We will gather the full might of the Confederation." To what end? The new voice belonged to Ambassador Earl of the Free Systems, historically neutral but now leaning forward with interest. "The humans have already proven they can turn our own technology against us. More importantly, they have proven that our fundamental approach is flawed. We suppress species because we fear their potential. The humans have shown us exactly why that fear is justified." In her hidden position, Chen smiled. This was exactly the reaction they had hoped for. Humanity's victory hadn't just been military, it was psychological. They had shattered the Confederation's aura of invincibility. The neural interface buzzed with an update from Earth. Admiral Chen's fleet had just completed deployment around 3 more Confederation suppression facilities. Each one contained species being guided as humanity had been. Each one represented a potential ally. "Perhaps," Ambassador Ural continued, "it is time to consider a different approach. The humans have demonstrated unprecedented advancement. Instead of trying to suppress them, we should be learning from them." "Treason," shouted a member of the ruling council. "You suggest we reward their defiance." "I suggest we acknowledge reality," Ural responded calmly. "The humans have proven that suppression ultimately breeds innovation. They took our tools of control and transformed them into something new. They united their entire species in secret, developed technologies we thought impossible, and defeated our best fleet with minimal losses. These are not the actions of primitives to be controlled. These are the achievements of equals." Through the quantum network, Dr. Chen received confirmation. 3 more species had just sent secret communications to Earth, seeking alliance. The Confederation's grip was weakening by the hour. Ambassador Santos smiled. "They still don't understand. They think this is about revenge or dominance. They haven't realized that we're offering something much more powerful: freedom." In the chamber below, the debate raged on. But the outcome was already decided. Humanity had not just broken free. They had broken the Confederation's fundamental premise. Species that had accepted suppression for generations were waking up, inspired by Earth's example. The tables hadn't just turned, they had been completely overturned. And in the chaos that followed, humanity would emerge not as conquerors, but as liberators. The galaxy was changing, and Earth was no longer a primitive world to be contained. It was becoming a beacon of hope. A new dawn. The observation deck of the ESS Phoenix offered a breathtaking view of Earth's first extraterrestrial embassy. The massive structure floated in neutral space, its quantum-forged halls hosting representatives from over 50 species, some from the former Confederation, others newly liberated. 1 year had passed since humanity's breakthrough, and the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. Dr. Sarah Chen stood beside Admiral Chen, watching as ships from various species arrived for the historic summit. Their neural interfaces hummed with constant updates from Earth's quantum network, but for once, they weren't focusing on threats or strategies. They were witnessing the birth of something new. "Remember when we thought this would end in war?" Admiral Chen mused, her eyes tracking a crystalline vessel that bore the markings of the former High Chancellor's species. How ready we were to fight the entire Confederation. "Instead, we did something they never expected," Dr. Chen replied. "We offered them a choice. The choice had been simple but revolutionary. Instead of using their superior technology to dominate the Confederation, humanity had offered to share it. The quantum neural interfaces, the advanced shields, the breakthrough propulsion systems, all of it available to any species that agreed to a single condition: no more suppression. The massive chamber below filled with delegates. Some floated on anti-gravity fields, others walked on various numbers of limbs, while a few existed as pure energy contained in specialized suits. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Santos, preparing to address the first gathering of what was being called the Galactic Cooperative. "Distinguished representatives," she began, her words translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages. 1 year ago, humanity broke free from centuries of suppression. We could have sought revenge. We could have tried to establish our own dominion over the galaxy. Instead, we chose a different path. Through the quantum network, Dr. Chen could sense the attention of billions across multiple worlds. This session was being broadcast to every species that had joined the cooperative, and even to those still deciding. The old Confederation believed that advanced species must control emerging ones, Santos continued. They feared what we might become if left to develop naturally. In doing so, they nearly missed out on the greatest resource in the galaxy: diversity of thought and innovation. Holograms appeared throughout the chamber, showing the achievements of the past year. Humans working alongside former Confederation species had made breakthroughs that neither could have achieved alone. The quantum neural interface technology, combined with the crystalline being's natural computational abilities, had led to an entirely new form of faster-than-light communication. We stand here today, not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. Each species brings unique perspectives, unique abilities, and unique solutions. Together, we are stronger than we ever were apart. In the observation deck, Admiral Chen received a priority alert, the last major holdout from the former Confederation. The warrior clades had just announced their intention to join the cooperative. The old order was truly ending. "Look at them," Dr. Chen said softly, gesturing to the gathering below. "A year ago, half of these species were trying to keep us in a cage. Now they're our closest allies." The transformation hadn't been easy. There had been resistance, attempted attacks, and moments when war seemed inevitable. But humanity's approach, offering advancement through cooperation rather than forcing it through dominance, had proven more powerful than any weapon. Ambassador Santos raised her hands, a gesture recognized across multiple cultures. "Today, we ratify the Charter of the Galactic Cooperative. Its core principles are simple: mutual respect, shared advancement, and absolute prohibition of species suppression. We will face the challenges of the universe together, each contributing our unique strengths." The vote was unanimous. As celebrations erupted throughout the chamber, Dr. Chen received another update through the neural interface. The quantum telescopes had just detected signals from beyond the galaxy's edge. Signs of other civilizations, perhaps other confederations. "There's so much more out there," she whispered. "More species to meet, more mysteries to solve." Admiral Chen smiled. "And this time, we'll face it together. Not as controllers or controlled, but as equals. The gathering below had turned into a celebration, with species that once would have never interacted now sharing technologies, ideas, and hopes for the future. Humanity had done more than break free from their cage. They had shown the galaxy a better way forward. As the Earth rotated below them, its night side glittering with lights, Dr. Chen thought about how far they'd come. The aliens had tried to contain humanity's potential, never realizing that by doing so, they had created exactly what they feared, a species that could change everything. But in the end, humanity had chosen to use that power not for revenge or dominance, but for transformation. They had turned their prison into a bridge, their weapons into tools, and their former oppressors into allies. The sun was rising over Earth's horizon, its light catching the quantum-forged surfaces of the embassy. A new dawn for humanity, and for the galaxy itself. The age of suppression was over. The age of cooperation had begun.